Bombed.
This meeting is being recorded.
I was promoted. I'm so excited. From webinar to panelist.
Congratulations, Warren.
Thank you. Thank
No one
you.
deserves it more than you.
Want to be in the doghouse?
I love it. So
And we hope you have your presentation already set, Ward. Thank you. Ready, go.
So it looks like we are all here. 12. Oh, that's good. That's a good attendance. Welcome, everybody. So we started the recording. So I guess that officially we're going to start the commission, the meeting for the commission. Thank you, everyone, for the patience. I hope that you all visit the calendar and download the agenda. You have it with you, and also the commissioners that you read your notes. I think I had a feedback from Lynn, and I corrected the name of Linda.
Jean Edwards, right? That should have been Jean Edwards.
Exactly. In the first one is Jean Edward and Richard Cassetta, because Linda Diamond was the second guest. So I already fixed that. I don't know if anybody has any other comment on the notes. No? Okay. Anybody would like to? What is the thing?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
The motion. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm late. I'm tired today. A motion. Okay, Peter. Anybody seconded?
Yeah.
And seconded. Perfect. Thank you. All votes in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against? Din, din, din. Okay, moving forward. Thank you very much for that. Our second item on the agenda, of course, is welcoming Keith Potter, our new Director of Arts and Cultural Affairs. Keith, what? You have no idea how excited are we for having you on board. So please address your
well,
public
I sent
here.
my resume around if for anybody who didn't see. And right now, I'm just learning the processes of working for the city of Kingston, and it's involved. But other than that, I'm working on the Novo Grant. We're submitting a $75,000 grant we were invited to apply for, and that will be for salary and office supplies. We actually have a carry-in of $30,000 from the last grant that will also apply. So the new grant period will start April 1st of this year and go on until April 1st of 2023.
Right.
Will the Novo application include any assistance for you for carrying out certain tasks like permits for filming in the city, or how is that working?
Well, that's me and Roy Verspoor, this secretary to the mayor right now. So we're going to be doing that together, and then he'll eventually be passing that over to me. And as far as assistance is concerned, I have a meeting with the Bard College Director of Internship Programs next week. So we're going to start talking about how we can all take advantage of their paid internship program. I had an intern from Bard when I was at Maverick, and she was brilliant. And she stayed with me for a year, and she's now moved on to become the manager of the Blue Note. So I'm sure that we can all, benefit since they got such a generous grant from Soros. So I'll be talking that up, and I'll be remembering everybody and bringing that to the next meeting.
That's great. What else?
That's it for now.
Do you have a dog?
Do I have a dog?
Uh-huh.
Is that what you asked me?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
No. It's just that, to talk about something that is not work. I know that you've been having like a very busy week and a half since you started.
Yeah.
So
yes, and I just want to say thank you all for this opportunity. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been perusing the master plan, and it's so well laid out. Phase 1 for the next 2 years is pretty involved. So I've been looking in pieces at that, and looking forward to, again, having more to report for you as I move forward with my piece.
Well, that's great. That's great, because I think that we need to also decide with the committees how we are gonna, I don't know, to have each one of us their piece of the pie on how we're gonna work together to support and, you know, to really make it a reality for the city. So that's really exciting. I know that you didn't want to talk too much today, so I'm gonna respect that. But anyway, we are gonna bring you in the conversation quite often, and please feel free to ask anything, because obviously, you know, this is your first meeting. We're still, you know, getting to put some order in the house, and also you get to settle in your position, although you are already, you know, rocking the boat there. So that's good. That's good. Yes, Ward.
I wonder, Kit, how long have you been in your position now?
I started last Monday.
Yeah,
Oh,
week and a half.
okay.
I'm already finishing a grant, huh?
What are your first impressions?
I can't wait to dig in. Again, you know, learning the system of the city of Kingston is far different. So, you know, I've got to, you know, get in step with all of that. But as far as the job, specifically the job, I'm just so grateful that I have a plan to start with, because I'm usually, you know, coming in having to do the plan first. So this is a jump on anything else I've ever done.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. Well, we have to sell the plan, so the plan gets approved, right?
Right.
That's cool. Any other question? No? Well, thank you very much. So we're going to the point 3 on the agenda. And also, I want you guys to know that since in the last meeting, we sort of like come up with, at least we have 5 committees so far. I guess that's plenty to start. It's not that I'm asking for any committee more, but who knows if we need to add another one. So my idea is that in each meeting, we will have at least 7 minutes for each of the committee to give an update. Even if the update is to say, well, nothing to report from last meeting, but so we can keep it, you know, moving, and, you know, and we will all be up to date with what every committee is doing. So the first committee that I have in my list is the advisory committee. So we have Richard, your turn.
Well, the advisory committee, the what we discussed the last time, and what I've discussed with the number of you, has been to was to sort of set up a committee structure. I don't have the list of all the other committees that have been formed.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. The committees that we have so far, Richard, because they are in the notes, and the notes are approved now, so they are going to be on the website. But we have the advisory committee that you were in charge of coordinating. You did a great job talking to everybody about that. The DEIA committee, that is diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. Then we have the Harriet Tubman committee, the new members committee, and the rules of procedures committee. So those are the committees that we have so far.
Yeah. The committees that you know, my experience with, you know, having been on the commission is and following is, you know, for one thing, to make sure that we all have are clear on first of all the relationships of each of the components to each other, the role of you know, that we know what the role of the Arts Commission is in relation to the master plan, the relationship of the commission to the Arts and Culture Department, what the lines of communication are, and to the and to the mayor, and then the relationship of the commission to local arts and cultural organizations, and also even to the other commissions.
Of course.
This is because a lot of what we're doing with the Arts and Culture Master Plan affects a lot of other what a lot of other commissions are doing, and so there should be some kind of interrelationship. But so the question is, having after doing that, how do we how do we set up a committee structure? This is, it's nice to say we have all of these different things, but how do we populate it? How do we lead it?
Gotcha.
And so on, because these are the things that, I'm sorry, I just want to finish. These are the things that are going to help to implement the master plan. And we need to have a head of the advisory committee because it should be somebody from the commission. It should not be, I've helped facilitate it, but I don't think I should be, I'm not the one who should be heading it.
Why do you feel that way, Richard?
Huh?
Why do you feel that way?
I think this is something, it's not that I don't want to do it. I think it should be something that's that is headed by somebody on the commission.
That should be a commissioner.
But why do you say that?
Why do you think that it should be a commissioner?
That's a good question. I felt like, Peter, do you ever?
Yeah, I have a question that might clarify it. My understanding when we were talking about advisory is that we were going to create an advisory council, not an advisory committee. So it was going to be a group of people whose knowledge we could draw on when we needed specific things. Now it's turned into an actual committee of the Arts Commission, which I was just surprised about. But I actually then agree that if it's actually a committee of the commission, it should be headed by a commissioner, not an advisory council member.
Yeah, I thank you for that, because actually my concern about it being a council, when as needed, is going to be, and I've seen this happen. I've seen it happen with MAD. When we had advisory groups, we don't necessarily call on them.
Keep them
regularly.
active. Yeah.
And it doesn't, and there isn't the real engagement and activity that a committee would have. And I'm not sure, how long something like the advisory committee needs to exist. It's mainly, to help set up a committee structure, which is something that I've been feeling is necessary for the commission. Actually, it's something I proposed when I was first the chair of the commission. And I think, okay.
Yes, Rudan.
Yeah, I am a little confused about the lingo because I did what Peter just brought up is what I was under the understanding. So I thought Richard did reach out to me, and I apologize, Richard, for not responding to your last message yet, but I did think it was something separate than the advisory board. In December, when we talked about the possibility of creating an advisory board, it was my understanding it would be modeled after what a lot of nonprofit groups do, which is you have board members who rotate off periodically, then they go on to the advisory board. Sometimes you bring in new people to the advisory board who can eventually become full board members, and it keeps rotating. Mm-hmm. That's different than having committees. So,
okay. So because we are still in this process of forming these committees, I guess that all those feedbacks are valid. And it's just a matter of us to decide, first of all, to articulate what exactly this advisory committee or council or board would be, that then we agreed and that's what we want. And then we will decide if it's going to be a committee, an active committee, or if it's going to be an advisory that we recur to when we need or something like that. But then we need to have that articulated, I would say. Yes, Peter.
I just don't understand why, as a commission, you would need an advisory committee, because that's what we do as a commission. We are advising on things. I mean, it seems like a redundant thing to me. Richard, I saw your email too. All excellent points. But to me, that's the work of the commission. It's not the work of a committee necessarily. And maybe some of those things inside of that, the document that you put could be put towards different committees in the commission. But to me, the commission as the whole is the advisory group. You know?
Yeah, I think that also it was part, if I may say here, it was also the idea of keeping engaged the commissioners that are retiring, that eventually they are not going to be actively participating in every meeting, but that they will be, you know, somehow participating in whatever we do. But then, you know, again, we need to decide how active that will be. And also that all the people that was consulted to be part of that, if they are aware of a committee or a council or how it's going to be. So I think that we may need to have a deeper discussion on that.
I want to just second what, now I'm understanding it better, if that's what it is. I mean, in my field, you know, in museum field, oftentimes your advisory board is comprised of, yes, people who have retired from the board, but also distinguished people in the community who say to you, you know, I don't want to be on the board. I don't want to have all of that responsibility, but I'm happy, you know, to be put on your advisory board if you want my name. And it's like, great. And, you know, and then, you know, you're doing your big capital campaign and you say, well, Jane Doe, you're a member of the advisory board. You know, now we want the 100,000 from you.
It helps keep consistency in the relationships. And then another big distinction is that the full board has voting rights and the advisory board does not. In a nonprofit, that's how it works. And so we can model it that way for the city commission.
Yeah. If I can just say, one of the reasons why I stepped down from the board, I had a couple, but one of the main reason was that I felt we were 9 people meeting once a month, and we didn't have a process for engaging other community members in a kind of community structure. And I was sort of saying, you know, I was stepping down really to be a committee person, which is what I would like to do, is be on one of these committees. If as Roseanne said, you know, the advisory is for is to keep active the former commission members who want to remain. I'm on the MAD board. I'm involved in a number of different things. I don't need to be sitting on a seat that could be for somebody else too. You know, I can still be active.
I think that we agree. Oh, sorry, Lynn. Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't have board experience or anything, but it seems to me that if part of the function of this committee would specifically be to reach out to the community and to the city to talk about the master plan, if that's like one of the aims of it, it seems to me that our meetings once a month are about business, commission business, but that to me seems like a separate function. And if I know, for example, if I'm in a committee and that's, you know, that's my job, right? Like reach out to 3 older people and, you know, contact ABC or arts organization or whoever. I'm going to do it. You know, if we're just talking generally at the commission about we should reach out, I find that I don't do it. So it seems to me the committee has very specific purpose. This is what you do. And then you meet separately. That's your task. Whereas the commission meetings, it seems like, you know, we have other business to cover. That's all. So it seems to me there is a function for that.
Although I agree with Peter, what Peter said, because for instance, part of what Richard was explaining here about those structural concerns that you have, Richard, that's part of the Rules and Procedures Committee. So we don't need to duplicate that thing.
It's fine.
So I guess that we can, I mean, I just would like to move on to the other committees, but definitely I think that we need to shape, more to clarify the what is the purpose of this committee, if it's going to be a committee or if we will keep it as a council, in which the retired members of the commission can, be called or whatever, but that they don't need to be month by month doing something, because for that matter, they are commissioners, right? Yes, Peter.
So again, I think that if you have an advisory board, they can still sit on committees of the commission.
Oh, yeah,
So
sure.
to me, the structure really is the commission, committees of the commission, advisory board, and we can have non-advisory board people sitting on our committees. We've been talking about how can we get more members of the community involved,
Right.
and that's a great way. So I think what we first need to focus on, forget the advisory board for the moment. Let's focus on our committees. What are the committees of this commission, and figure out what we need there, and then figure out an advisory board, and then how to populate all those different committees. That seems to me to be
that sounds good to me. Do we want to motion that and vote for what is happening here? Everything was moving. Okay. Do we need to start a motion for that, or we will just continue the conversation later?
I don't think it's a motionable item at this point. I think we just need to sort through the logistics, and then maybe when we say, okay, here are the 6 different committees that we want to form, we could vote on that and say, for our organization for this coming year, here are the committees that we have, and we're also putting into place an advisory board which has this mission, blah blah blah. So I would get our ducks in a row, put it all together, and then vote on it as a whole. If that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's
That's
cool. It's just that I thought that we agreed on these committees that are in the notes from last meeting. Yes, Richard.
Are these committees of the, Peter, actually, as you're saying, the committees of the commission, are these committees something that advisory people can sit on also?
Absolutely, and should.
Yeah, okay, because I would very much like to be involved in that rules committee, forming the committees. So that's fine. That's great.
Perfect. So then I'm gonna reword this, reorganize these things, and send it in the in the notes for the next meeting too. And we'll see if we are clear with that. If there is no problem, if you agree. So I guess that the other committee that I have in my notes is the DEIA committee, that so far is Anne, Ward, and myself. Yes, Peter?
Can I interrupt you for one, just 1 second?
Sure.
We have a guest here that haven't been introduced. We haven't acknowledged our guest, and I feel like we should.
Oh, Shanna, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
The thing is that I knew that you were there, but it was so natural for me that you were there.
Don't worry about it.
That's
you so
true.
much thank you for the introduction.
That's true. And thank you for joining the meeting. I don't know if you wanted to be, visiting the meeting today, or if you would like to bring something to the agenda. We have different things, different items in the agenda, but there is always room for new items at the end of the meeting. So if you would like to share something, please.
Sure. Honestly, I just wanted to jump on today. I did go on the city's website last month and actually apply for to sit on the commission. So I'm not sure if that's something you guys are going to be covering, but just so everyone knows, I'm the director for the Cornell Creative Arts Center, and just wanted to make sure I was reaching my audience and being totally immersed in all areas that I should be.
Perfect.
Can I ask, can we just do a quick go around so Shauna knows who we are?
That would be great.
Sure.
2 seconds. So I'm Peter Maxwell. I'm the executive director of the LGBTQ+ Community Center here in Kingston. I'm also an Ulster County legislator representing a portion of the city of Kingston.
Perfect. Who's going next? Well, Kid, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to present yourself again.
I'm Kit Potter, the newly appointed Director of Arts and Cultural Affairs for the City of Kingston.
Thank you. Lynn?
I'm Lynn Woods. I was co-director, co-producer of Lost Rondout, Story Urban Removal, and I'm a local journalist and writer.
Thank you. I was going to say Bailey Pottery. And
That's her. Co-owner Bailey Pottery Equipment in Midtown. I'm chair of the Midtown Arts District.
thank you, Brent.
Brent Felker. I'm the executive director of the Art Society of Kingston.
Thank you, Susie.
Susie Lynn, grants manager for Health Alliance and numerous other things.
Thank you, Rudan.
Sorry, I'm Ruth Ann Devitt Frank, and I'm the Director of Grants Management for the city. And I have a pretty broad background in the arts and special interest in it. So I've been active with the development of the arts plan, but then have been sort of helping in this interim period since our former director left in September, and we just brought Kit in. So I don't always attend Arts Commission meetings, but I wanted to be here to support Kit during her first one. So it's nice to meet you.
It's awesome.
Thank you, Rudan. Lisa?
Hi, I'm Lisa Kelly. I'm the executive director of the Kingston Midtown Arts District.
Thank you, Richard.
I'm the guy who's been talking a lot.
Okay, that's
Wait,
plenty.
I'm Richard Frumis. I'm on the board of. I'm the treasurer of the Midtown Arts District. I'm a former member of the commission, and I am the founder of R&F Handmade Paints. So,
Thank you. Ward.
And Ward Mintz. I run a foundation that funds projects in fashion and textiles, and mainly in museums. And I am currently the chair of the advisory board of the Dorsky Museum at SUNY New Paltz.
Awesome.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ward. And Maria Elena, the executive director of Humanamente, an artist and sharing the commission since 2 months ago. I don't remember when it was. So thank you. I'm gonna go quick to the report of the 2 committees that I have to report today. So it's the DEIA. I'm gonna call it the Diversity and Inclusion. It's shorter for me. So as you remember, I shared last meeting that I had a conversation with the mayor. Did I share that? Yes, I did. I had a conversation with the mayor about, the things that we were doing in the commission. And one of the things that I shared with him was my special interest in one of the goals that we have in the master plan in regards to the campaign for diversity. So it was just a very friendly conversation. And I have to say that he was happily receptive to the idea and to see different ways in which the city can support that. So that's a good thing. That means that now we have to come up with something and see how we can make that happen, or if we have to wait until the approval of the master plan. But in any case, he is completely on board of, on that campaign for diversity in not only in the arts. So that's one thing. And then for the Rules and Procedures Committee, that in my notes I have Peter and myself. Part of this committee will be also the review of the resolution of the commission that you may remember. We were asking you guys to send to Peter any feedback that you have or any, observation or comment for that, if we're gonna do that amendment or not. I don't know, Peter, if you have anything.
Brent did his homework and gets a gold star.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, Brent, you will get your sticker. So if anybody, please, if you have anything to say, or eventually Peter, if we need to sit and then draft something and see what we would like to accomplish with that, that would be great. And then share it with you guys. And on the other hand, I just want to remember a little bit of the procedures that we already have in place. For instance, I'm trying to send the agenda and the notes at least 1 week in advance. So you have plenty of time to take a look on the notes and in the agenda in case you need to add something to that or make any comment. But remember, I'm sending that to you guys. Please send the comments to me, because if I need to do those amendments and I don't know, well, it's hard for me to put them there. So just remember to send that. The resolutions, we already talked about that. And I already mentioned that I would like to have in the agenda, like, consistently report from all the committees. Yes, and
we need a chair for each committee. It's really important that we know who is calling the meetings and so forth. So I'm going to recommend you appoint a chair to each one with the agreement of that person.
That I appoint them?
Well, yeah, usually the chair will appoint the chair of the committee, but they have to want to do it. I mean, you have to ask them, do you want to chair this? And
okay.
In the case of the DEIA, I think you should chair. I think it makes most sense. But, you know, I'd go through each list and see who wants to chair. And if you can't find a volunteer, you're going to assign.
No, I'm sure that it shouldn't be a problem. Okay. So, but thank you for that. I was, you know, I was going to ask each committee to do that, you know, like from the members that decided to be in that committee, you know, among you guys, who is going to chair that committee. But either way works for me. And anyway, because we're still in this conversation, this is not completely set on stone yet. I guess that we can continue shaping those committees. Yes, Peter.
Ask a question about specifically the Harriet Tubman Committee. It seems like we should have a broader committee name for something like that. Like it should be like special programs or something, because that's just one thing out of many that could happen in that type of committee. So I think we should broaden that one out. I like the DEI committee. I think that's broad enough. Then I think like new members, usually on like a board, like a nonprofit board, that's called governance. So maybe we just call that a governance committee, and it has to do with all things like member recruitment, you know, board onboarding, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just against sort of stealing from nonprofit, you know.
Perfect. No, perfect, because we need to refine this, and I think that all those comments are very, very valid. Yes, Lisa.
Oh, I just have a question. In terms of how, when we move forward into the Arts and Cultural Master Plan, will there be a committee formed, or is that going to be the whole commission?
Well, that's something that we need to decide also, and see if we are gonna somehow take parts of the master plan for the committees, or if we are going to decide to have a committee for the master plan. That's part of the conversation that we need to have, because maybe we can just fragment, you know, somehow say, oh, this goes to this committee and things like that. But you know, we are still in that process.
I have a question.
Yeah, surely.
I have a question about the resolution. So I read the resolution and it seemed pretty comprehensive to me. So I was just wondering, Pete, I think Peter, you were the one that wanted us to look at it. I mean, it looks really comprehensive. It's just a matter of fulfilling a lot of these functions. But was there something?
My specific concerns was, first of all, it was created before there was a director of arts and culture. So looking and making sure that the duties of the commission were different from the duties of the director of arts and culture, or is there some sort of relationship? And then honestly, Brent brought up some really, really good comments about how it's the language is very focused around economic development rather than community, and trying to infuse the idea of the arts commission and the work of the commission being community related.
Okay.
So I thought those were great comments,
Yeah.
and I think we can, and it was fair old enough that I think it is worth a look, and just to see how we can tweak it. And maybe we don't need to redo the whole thing. Maybe we just add an amendment onto it or something, make it simple. But yeah, I always think it's good to sort of look at something after it's been sitting for several years.
Right. And it definitely did feel like it was very emphasized economic development, and there's really not a sense of the crisis we now face with affordable housing.
The word is
For
very
example,
different.
it's like kind of a different era that way. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Lisa?
Yeah, I didn't make any comments, although I did read it, Peter, because I'm still kind of trying to understand what the commission does in person and how that reflects into the resolution. I do notice that there is a lot of things that we aren't necessarily, I don't know if we're doing yet, but that remains to be seen. But yeah, I was interested in the advocacy piece of the community part of how the commission would be participating in that way. If we're speaking about cultural competency, how that would affect our advocacy efforts in our partnerships. So that would be good to outline.
Perfect. So then make sure that eventually if you have everything that can be, a comment that can be added to the process, please send it to Peter and we will keep the conversation. Any other question in regards to that? No? Okay, so Harriet Tubman, that we will see if we're gonna rename the committee, but that's fine. But Susie, it's your turn to talk about the Harriet Tubman project.
Okay, well, Ann and I had a meeting, I forget when it was, last week sometime or Monday. And so we're going to start our fundraising efforts. I'm creating a mini case statement that we'll send. It will be kind of a combination of a letter case statement that will ask people for if they want to do programming, if they'd like to contribute monetarily and things like that. I did speak with Odyssey, who is the sculptor's wife. I asked regarding the installation. She said that there's no, there's nothing that they really recommend. It's up to each individual location. However, she did say that all of the locations have had the sculpture close to the ground, that they really like it to be interactive with the community. So I know that we had talked about maybe having a platform that was much higher. I don't know if we want to rethink that based on what she's recommending. Also, we're going to see if we can get somebody to help with the installation. And Ruth Ann, we need to connect so that maybe, like we were talking, Ann and I talked about maybe seeing if DPW could get involved. Do you have any intel on that?
I think we just, need the specifics of what it is we're asking them to do first, and then we can talk to DPW.
Do they have equipment like a forklift and things like that?
I don't know that they own a forklift. This did come up recently and I forgot who brought it up, but we can explore that right away. So if you can get the specifics sooner, soon, then we'll just.
And find out, if it's not there, if with the community, maybe somebody will pitch in a forklift for 2 hours or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure there's an organization in town, maybe even a moving company that has a forklift, and maybe we could just approach them to donate the driver and the equipment for a couple hours.
Yeah, I mean, basically it gets here on a flatbed truck, and then we have to remove it from the truck and put it onto whatever we're going to put it on, whether it's the base or the ground or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I kind of left, Kit and I talked about this briefly, so I'll just bring it up for a second. Kit, did you have an opportunity to confirm with the mayor about the location, having this erected at Broadway Commons?
No.
Okay, because that
Not
was
yet.
still,
I won't see him until Friday. Mhm.
okay. That, I don't envision that would be a problem, but I did email him about it and he didn't respond before the holidays, so we just need to follow up on that.
To follow on, yeah. And Susie, if I may say, I agree and I understand why the statue will be great to have it, you know, a ground level to interact with it. But I also understand the point that Ward brought out last meeting that, you know, it's gonna be hard to see from Broadway because, you know, it's mainly a driving way. You know, I know there is people walking around, but I don't know. I think that that's something that definitely may need to have some brainstorming and see how to solve that thing that works. You know, we want the statue to really be appreciated. We want the community to interact with it. But yeah, I understand the concern that eventually cannot be seen. But I don't know. It's just that I don't know what, but yeah, it's a conundrum.
I just think there are thousands more people who are seeing, who would be seeing the sculpture in cars than there would be walking on Broadway. And I'm not talking about lifting it up 10 feet, even if it were 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, something that would make more of an impact given where it is.
But I guess that I don't know if eventually the committee, when you meet again and try to, you know, to know exactly what we can ask the DPW to, you know, what is needed for the installation, and also have a deeper conversation about that. Yeah, I think that we were talking last time about 3 feet or something like that. Did I tell you that that's too high, Susie?
no, she just said that it's never been elevated before. It's always been, you know,
On the ground.
on the
I
ground.
remember
Well,
that in Newburgh, it was elevated.
Yeah, 6 inches.
Oh, is that all?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's not so much.
So, I mean,
yeah.
you know, I can forward you all the email if you want from Odyssey. That, you know, and just, I mean, I think, you know, if it's 4 or 5 feet, I think that's too tall. There's not going to be, you know, kids aren't going to be able to interact with it.
Yeah.
You know, and then again, if it's, you know, even if it's 2 feet tall and kids get up on top of a platform,
It's not gonna help much from the street, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna have to be a pretty sturdy platform because this thing weighs 2,000 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a picture of it right now, a photograph of it in Pittsburgh, and I mean, it's an upright standing figure, and it just seems to me because it's standing, it shouldn't be up that high. I mean, it's about like it looks like it's 3 feet. It's on some kind of stone. I don't know if this is Newburgh or Auburn, New York, but it looks to me like because it's a standing figure with a lot of weight, I don't think it should be that high up. But this is like 3 feet, the one I'm looking at.
It has 3 feet. Is 3 feet of what, Lynn?
Well, it's on it looks like a stone, something that's like 2 to 3 feet. Maybe it's only 2 feet. It's like a stone.
So it's like a pedestal.
Yeah, but it's not a pedestal. You know, it's just a base, a stone base.
Okay, well that's important to know.
Which brings it up a little bit from the sidewalk, but it still looks connected to the earth. If you know what I mean. If you Google it, I'm just looking. I don't know if this is Newburgh or Auburn, but it looks like if there was some kind of base like that it could sit on, that was 2 to 3 feet. That seems like that would work. But I can't imagine something being really high when it's a standing figure like that.
No, I wasn't thinking about something really high either.
Mm-hmm.
It is 9 feet tall.
Right. Oh, really? That's huge.
It's huge, yeah. So it doesn't need to be raised too much, yeah.
Yeah, but it looks like having a stone base would be nice. Like if you Google it, you'll see what I'm looking at.
Can I just
It's
ask a
all good.
question?
Sure.
Another question. Just bringing myself up to speed. Are there notes from on an agenda about what the goals are with this monument, and the goals for the city to bring it exactly? Maybe that would inform some of how we want people to engage with it.
I guess that's part of the programming that is being developed, right, Susie?
Yeah.
Well, there's motivation. There was a motivation to get it. What was the motivation? I'm not privy to that information. And if you have an agenda with the minutes when that was discussed, that would be really helpful for me to understand.
Well, basically it was, this Newburgh had the sculpture and we invited them to come and speak at a commission meeting about it. And they were really jazzed and we got really jazzed and said, let's do it too. And the Kingston Library offered to front some of the money from their friends of the library. And basically we wanted community organizations to do that have a vested interest to do programming. And I have a list of about 20 organizations that I'm going to send out to, including churches and MAD and ASK and the Friends of Historic Kingston and Harambe and all kinds of My Kingston Kids, all kinds of different types of organizations. And Ann and I talked about starting the programming early, like starting the programming in September in preparation for her coming. And and Newburgh is, even though they only had the statue for 2 months, their programming continued for like 6 months afterward. It was really an amazing thing for their community. So I think it'll be a good thing for ours as well.
It's a great opportunity for engagement. Yeah, Lynn?
Yeah, also, Lisa, I think partly it came out of our discussion about our local monuments.
Yeah.
That our local monuments are generally very limited. I mean, as you know, there was a petition about possibly removing the monuments in Academy Green. So I think it came out of the idea that we wanted to have more representation of people of color, women, other historical figures that have been overlooked. I think that's what it came out of.
Yeah,
it would help balance that.
And anyway, all the minutes, Lisa, are on the website. If you look at the website, I cannot tell you what date was that discussion because I don't remember, but the minutes are there. I don't know. Well, that's another point that eventually I'm going to discuss with Keith at some point to see if we can order a little bit the way that the minutes are posted on the but I'm not going to bring that right now, but it's down the road, but anyway, the information I know that is there. I will try to look for that. Okay,
all of the minutes are on YouTube on the Kingston channel. Since we've been virtual, they're all there now.
That's true. And the recordings are there. That's true. Okay. Well, Susie, thank you for that. And I don't know if we are going to have time to do an executive session. We talked about that last meeting about the prospective new members. Can we do that today? Because we have a vacancy that we need to, we don't need, we want to have the recommendation to the mayor. And we spoke about that last week. Yes, who is talking? I don't see. Oh, Rudolph. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say, I don't have a lot to say about the master plan. So do you want me to speak about that and see how much?
Okay. Perfect.
Before we move on, can I just about the committees?
Absolutely.
that we could work towards, which has been really helpful in our board meetings at Ask, is I think all the committees, in addition to having a chair, should be taking minutes for their individual meetings. And that needs to be part of the process. And if those can be included on the agenda, then they can be read by the commission prior to the presentation. And that way, any questions can actually come up before, and we're not kind of processing
Definitely.
and trying to come up with questions during the 7-minute presentation. I think it just speeds things up a lot in these actual meetings when all that info is kind of
That sounds like
pre-read.
very valuable. I love it. Thank you, Brent.
Yeah, it cut our board, cut like half an hour off of all of our board meetings. It was great.
Even if it's a brief note, but so we can keep.
But also it means that if the minutes are being kept by the individual committees, then it's not a recollection.
Yeah.
Committee members, which then gets transcribed by you, and we kind of get this game of telephone as to what was actually said in the committee meeting itself. So I think that it's important for records as well.
Yeah, I love it. I sounds like good to me. If you don't mind, and if you have the notes, that would be great. If you can send it to me, we can add it to the agenda and to the notes of to share it. Yeah, thank you for that, Brent. I think it's a best practice for keeping the documentation. Yep. Any other comment around that? Okay, so then Rudan.
Yeah, all I really wanted to let you know is that we're just cleaning up a couple of adjustments to the plan, and I thought we'd be able to share a link for it today, but probably by tomorrow we'll be able to share a link and you can go in and take a look at it. And Kit and I are meeting with Lord in the morning, and at that discussion, I think I'll just pass the reins for the plan over to Kit formally, and then she'll also, assist her at the end of the month in preparing communications to council so that we can get on the agenda for the February committee. We believe it'll be assigned to laws and rules, which will be mid-month. That will give us a good 3 or 4 weeks, I guess, to take the plan and get out there with it. I'm not sure how you'll want to handle that, but there had been discussion about the commission members maybe reaching out to council members individually and trying to put that in their hands ahead of time so that they can go through it and understand it before we get to the presentation. Eve has on her calendar, we're holding 2 dates because we won't know for sure which committee it'll be assigned to until around February 1st or 2nd. So it'll either be laws and rules in the middle of the month or the general government committee. Typically a plan approval would go to laws and rules. So we're pretty sure that's where it'll go. So as soon as we know for sure, we'll let you know. But as soon as Eve gets back to us with the last corrections, we'll send it off to you. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So maybe we can, if we have that, as soon as tomorrow, maybe at the beginning of next week, maybe we can also keep a conversation on the emails and just start, planning what we're going to do. We don't need to wait until next meeting to decide. Not to decide, but to plan. Yeah.
I'm sorry I wasn't ready for today, but there's been a lot of back and forth and the holidays got in the way and it just getting pushed, but just out there.
Sounds good.
And we did decide, right, there will be the common council members will get paper versions of it.
Yeah,
I mean, you're going to print out some.
That's another further discussion. I think someone had asked if there was a budget to do printing, to have a lot of hard copies. We of course can run. It's not that many committee members, so that we could run them here at City Hall on our color printer. But if you want to do a large number, I think we should talk about maybe going to Color Page to have it done there. And I don't know what Kit's budget will allow us to do. So we'll have to look a little bit more closely at that.
Okay. We need to follow up on that too. Well, but that sounds good.
Can I just
So,
add?
sure.
So since we're going to be calling this committee the Special Events Committee or whatever events
Or something.
committee, I'm assuming that the Distinguished Artist Award will go under that as well. Is that correct?
Peter?
If we have a second, I just threw together a possible committee structure for us.
Okay.
I just put it in the chat. And what it would be is it would be a
Programs.
programs committee, which would incorporate things like the Harriet Tubman or the distinguished artists, that type of thing. Marketing and communications, which we've been talking about for a long time. And we haven't really figured out how to do marketing and communications. The DEIA committee, the governance committee, which would be like membership, new members, all the rules, all that type of stuff.
All together there.
And then ad hoc committees I threw on there, and that could be actually the Harriet Tubman could sit under there, or just something that's like a special thing that comes up that's not a standing committee, that doesn't have long-standing need for the group. But so that's possible. You know, these are possible, and we could certainly add or subtract. But I just did a little Google searching of like typical committee structure for nonprofits or for boards and that type of stuff. So
that sounds good to me.
Okay, so speaking of which, I sent you all and my apologies for spelling your name wrong. I never do that. I always spell it right, but I did that time.
It's okay. It's just because I saw it on the letterhead. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, if you want me to explore new members for the panel, I'm happy to do so. Anne and I agreed that the panel worked well together previously, but if you think we should.
No, I mean, it's just, I mean, I know that also it takes a lot of time and everybody's busy, and maybe, you know, it will take, I mean, if it's not like an Herculean task to put together, it's just that, you know, I think it's healthy to keep different voices participating. Yes, Ward.
Are you talking about the Distinguished Artist Award?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's critical that we have new members. There could be members that had already been on, but I think that it's very important to have new voices.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, maybe, and also it doesn't need to be just on your shoulders. I guess that we can all think, at least in one person, eventually, that we can, you know, nominate or do something like that. Because, you know, I'm afraid that we always go to the same voices, and it's not that they are not valid, they are very good, but maybe we are missing opportunities to having other voices that otherwise we don't hear. I don't know. It's just that, you know, I love the idea that the panels are, you know, different each time, but doesn't need to be exactly like that. I mean, and some people can stay there. I don't know, it's just part of the discussion. If you want, maybe we can talk about that later, because when we are supposed to be having that together,
it was
like,
supposed to be in December.
It was in December, really?
Well, the panel has met at the end of January the last 2 times, and you know, I just. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's obviously not going to happen at the end of January.
Yeah.
So I just need to get the letter out, and so we can start getting in applications. And
yeah, definitely. So
I mean, we could discuss the panel, you know, next week or something like that. I don't think it's.
Well, if you so in that, let's say that committee. If we follow, let me open again what Peter said. So that pretty much will be part of the programs committee, Peter?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that makes sense to me. And I think actually another thing that would be smart for us to add is actually, let me see if I can put it in here. I think we should actually have an arts master plan committee, because that is going to be a long-term ongoing thing with us that, you know, we're going to really be trying to move move forward, and it's a complicated thing. So I think we should add that to the committee structure. And I just did a short list of tasks as well. So I think
Perfect. So we can, Peter, maybe we can circulate that on mail so we can all have on the same page with
Perfect.
that.
Yep.
I wanted to suggest we call it the Arts and Culture Master Plan Implementation Committee.
Perfect.
Okay. That sounds good to me. So
I have a document, so I can submit that around.
Thank you, Peter. So Susie, when you met with Anne, did you discuss about the Distinguished Artist Award too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're both
so-
on the special events committee. Or whatever, the program committee.
So we may need, guys, we need more people in that committee helping this wonderful.
I was on it. I'm on it. I was on it last month.
That's true, Lisa. Lisa, you're on that too.
And
So-
so was one other person. So I'm reporting to
Yeah.
the minute. So I
Yeah, Linda Marston Reed was on it too, but
Who was
she's
on it?
otherwise engaged in the sun and fun.
Yeah, definitely she's having fun. So I will follow up no matter what, I will follow up with the committees, and Peter will send you will share with everybody, Peter, what you have there, and we can decide even by mail, and then in next meeting we will just make it firm, and if we need to approve or not, so we can have that already in place if you agreed with that. So in the next meeting, even though we are still deciding the final name for next meeting, I would like again the committees to report what we were doing, even if the update is that we finally have a name. And I'm gonna also follow up with you guys about who's gonna chair each of the committees. I'm not gonna impose anything on anybody. I will ask you guys how we are gonna do this together. Is that okay with everyone? So, okay, we have old business and new business. I don't know if we should do that before going to the executive session, or if we should do the executive session and then come back to adjourn the meeting. How does that work, Peter?
I believe if we go into executive session, Shauna would have to leave. Is it Shauna? Shauna? Yeah, Shauna would have to leave and then come back.
And Richard.
And Richard and Ruth Ann.
Yeah.
Oh,
And do we have to stop the recording?
We have to stop the recording. So I would suggest let's do old and new business and then jump
Okay.
into
perfect. So
executive session.
so we wrap up the recording with everything, and we don't need to come back and start a new recording, right?
Okay, Ruth Ann, can Kit, is Kit in executive session? Since Kit is not a member of the board.
I don't know the answer to that question.
I think as executive director, I jump into executive sessions with my board sometimes and sometimes not. So
I think it.
I don't know.
My
I don't know if there's Brent, do you know, is there rules about it?
I don't know what our rules are, but my experience in my last nonprofit job was there was a staff person in executive session.
Yeah.
Awesome.
My
I
experience-
think it makes
Unless
sense
they're
for us
talking
to
about
do that.
me, then I'm in.
Yeah.
My experience
That's
was
true.
that it depended on the
It
conversation.
depends.
Okay, sometimes
Sure.
I'm in there, sometimes I'm not. It depends on
that-
what you're talking about.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if we're talking about you.
But you're saying we're not gonna talk about you. But that's true. At Family Booster, we always have a staff, and it's not always the executive director. Can be any other manager of the
The topic
And you were
is
trying to say
important.
something, but I
No.
didn't hear.
Oh, who?
Anne was saying something, but I heard not
Oh.
one word.
I was just going to say that the chairman of the executive committee, whomever that is, to be determined, invites people to come to that meeting. And that's how it's done. And if they've been invited, then they're there. And it's fine for them to be there.
Oh, that's good to know too. Thank you, Anne. Well, so is there any other new business that we need to bring up to the conversation today?
There's just one thing that I wanted to mention is that I
Sure.
heard that the Kingston Visitor Center has closed downtown. Now, this may seem more related to tourism, but that was kind of an outreach space. Do you know anything about that, Ruth Ann? Like, are we going to have another one? Because we lost the trolley, we lost the visitor center.
I actually
I
heard
just-
that too, but I didn't get to find out what the details were.
Yeah, I heard it from Julie Noble, but I just kind of wondered, will we
find
have
out.
a,
I'll find out and get back to you.
yeah, I mean, it's not really that relevant to Arts Commission, but I thought I would ask you since we're here.
Because
Because it's part of our outreach.
But Lynn, is that the city or the county?
Both.
The
It's
city,
both.
I think it was the city, right? The one, I'm
No,
talking
it's
about the one
both.
downtown on Broadway.
It's
Both? Okay.
So
But I just
okay.
thought, it seems to me we should have a visitor center of some kind, a physical space.
Well,
for-
I agree with you, but it's just that I was not sure if that was a county office or a city office.
Well, I know it might, I don't know, but I know it functioned as a city one and it may be in addition to the county, but it was very much about the city. I mean, I helped, there were exhibits upstairs that I helped be part of and, it was like a valuable space. So I just wondered,
I
are we
agree.
gonna have no visitor center as the city of Kingston? I mean, I want to look into it myself, but
I'll find out tomorrow and email everybody.
great.
We can
thank you.
try to, oh, perfect. Thank you, Rudan. Okay, and any old business that eventually was not mentioned today? Great, so well, thank you very much. Everyone, thank you, Shanna, for joining us today. Please feel free to stop by next month if you want to. Richard, it's always a pleasure to have you with us, but you have to go right now. And and Rudan, we're gonna be eternally thankful to you for all the support and all the things that you do for the commission.
Thank you, and I'll be back. I'll still join you for
Perfect.
very much, and I'll be in touch tomorrow with a few information pieces for you. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okie dokie. So officially the meeting was adjourned, so we can stop the recording.